So the problem, or not exactly the problem, but the question when it comes when it comes to the question of logic, right? Logic is simply a validifier of reasoning, right? It is the police that comes in and checks, so whatever process of reasoning you did, whether or not it is correct or not on the basis of the rules that we've defined. Now, when it comes to natural sciences, right, these are when you apply logic onto phenomena happening in the real world. And by that logic, we also made a criteria of sorts that things should that whatever test you're prescribing to reality should be repeatable. They should have evidence, in the sense that they should have visible phenomena happening in the universe that you can check for again and again, and like 5 6 more criteria to define what really does exist. Correct. But the point is, again, under what parameters does it really exist? Are these 5 parameters that we've decided? Who decided these parameters? Where did these 5 parameters come from? That is again ultimately arbitrary at the end of the day. Someone just like woke up one day, gave 5 reasons, and saw that, okay, now after they already came up with those 5 reasons, they saw if those 5 reasons were useful enough to be able to predict reality. And after repeated testings, they figured out, oh, so this is giving us good results again and again. So therefore, these will be the 5 criteria that we're going to work with. As of right now, we don't know whether or not there is a 6th criteria or not. These are the 5 criteria that are working with, and the origination of those 5 criteria are yet again arbitrary. Someone simply just came up with it. So that is what happens when you have to make models of reality, right? You can't, because you are going a layer beyond the 5 criterias of sorts, so it might not exactly fall into it. The only sort of criteria you can 2 criteria that you can give it, in my understanding, is A, whether or not it is logically consistent within itself, and B, whether or not the observations that it is taking from the reality in order to make those premises that it's working with, whether or not those observations are true or not.
Yeah, well, I think that the issue I would find perhaps would be that that somebody could construct metaphysics that essentially says that no other metaphysics but itself is valid.
Can you
And
give me an example of such?
well, this happens with presuppositionalism, for example, where you pre-assume that you're correct about X. Usually, X is a god, and you say, well, without this thing, you can't have all these other things. So therefore, I'm already right, and I've won the argument. There's no discussion because I'm right. The end. And it's very frustrating. You don't get anywhere. It's not a logical system. It's just I'm right. You play a game, flip a coin. Heads I win, tails you lose. Wait a minute. That's not a. It's not a game worth playing because you can't. There isn't even a game there. And so if I presuppose that my if I presuppose that my metaphysics is the only true metaphysics, and I say, well, it's the only one that really works. All the other ones are fake because it said so. And then you're like, well, but it's wrong. No, you're not allowed to say that because you have to use my metaphysics to show that it's wrong, and you can't do that without admitting it's right. So.
All right. See, again, I think that it does. I get what you're trying to say. It's that in order to prove something true, there must be a condition where it is false, right? You cannot uh, presuppose like 1 or 0 without both of them existing in the same place. So if you're defining a premise in which there is no way to falsify your claims, then ultimately uh, it doesn't really showcase truth, because truth cannot exist in absence of a condition where it is not true. True is a positive affirmation or a positive understanding, so there should be a negative consequence of sorts also. But I think the major point, I agree with that, right? But I believe the 2 criteria I gave, the logical consistency one, and more importantly, the true observation from reality one, that is where you can attack the argument, right? You can be like, these 5 observations that you made are false for this particular reasoning. And that is how you can falsify that argument. And if it is something which is just logically internally consistent but does not rely on any observation from the surroundings, then it might as well be imagination, right? Because it is not qualifying the two criterias that are required for anything to be called reasoning. It doesn't matter
Mm.
what kind of reasoning it is.
Right, right. You have to, like I said, we're both kind of agreeing on that you have to have some way to